Cardano Revolution, why you should build on top of Cardano. Oi, tudo bem? Hope I haven't offended our Brazilian viewers with that pronunciation. I'm Keith, one-third of the Lovelace Academy. And I'll be supported on this channel by both Maria and Shweta, two prominent members of the Cardano community and fellow stake pool operators. As you can tell from our name, we're educators, and our mission is to inspire and empower the Cardano community to build on top of this revolutionary platform. We're grateful recipients of Cardano Catalyst Fund 2 round, so a huge thank you to everyone that voted and gave us feedback. As a side note, although we're funded by Cardano, views expressed on this channel are specifically our own and not that of the wider Cardano community. Now for a bit of housekeeping. Please like and subscribe because we'll be publishing more content on how you can start building on Cardano's open and fair financial operating system of the world. You can also find out how you can support us in the description below. Okay, if you're new to Cardano, you might be asking, what is Cardano? It is a platform, an open, sustainable network of irrefutable facts and values, along with the programmable rules around them. Now, what do I mean by open? It's built from the ground up in the open for scrutiny, open source for radical transparency, and open, safe, and free for everyone to build on top of and use. We know the world is full of rigged, antiquated systems, broken systems that lead to the centralization of power, are slow and cumbersome, full of gimmicks and Ponzi's, and worst of all, inflationary money, unpredictable costs and fees. But enough about Ethereum. Let's focus on Cardano. As it currently stands, Cardano is already the most decentralized blockchain platform. This is without wasting the energy requirements of an entire country like Switzerland. Cardano's provably secure protocol is enforced all over the world by over 1,800 stake pools with over 4,100 relays. Compare that with 65% of mining power sitting in just one country. It's also the second most active blockchain by transaction volume. Hey, if you look carefully, you can see that it has already overtaken the OG, Bitcoin, using the adjusted transaction volume metric. Finally, it has established the world's largest fully decentralized autonomous organization that is growing by the day. Safe to say, Cardano has been on an absolute rampage in 2021. There's more to come. Now, why Cardano? Before diving deeper into the tech, we wanted to start with the why. We know what Cardano is, but what distinguishes it from everything else? Why should you be involved with it, and why should it be the platform for you to build your ideas on top of? I'm going to break it down into four main reasons. So point number one, Cardano is built on the strongest foundations with the future in mind. There are no shortcuts or gimmicks here. From its inception, Cardano was meticulously designed, planned, and built on the foundations of groundbreaking peer-reviewed research, core principles that were closely and deeply scrutinized by top researchers in their respective fields. At the point of this video, 100 papers had been published, with the original paper on Ouroboros being the second most cited in our blockchain industry. Now, the output of the research leads to the pure specifications with precise mathematical notation. From there, this is where the decision to use the Haskell programming language really paid off. That is to easily derive the code, otherwise known as the executable specification. Now, from that, simulations and property-based testing can be rigorously carried out and formally verified without requiring all the external bells and whistles. Now, this is not your typical software development process. The build fast and break things mentality is simply not good enough. We're talking about your life savings, the deeds to your house, company's treasury reserves, the will for your children. You do not want these to be lost in the ether. The next thing I want to bring up regarding point number 1 is Cardano's plan for its future, democratic decentralized governance. Now, Cardano has 3 main concepts: off-chain governance, on-chain governance, and a treasury with $450 million at the current price of ADA. Now I'm going to focus on on-chain governance because it's what sets Cardano apart from the rest of the top 20. This is where Voltaire comes in. If you're an ADA holder, you get a chance to vote for the future of Cardano. Further, you're rewarded in ADA to do so. Project Catalyst is where we see this mechanism in action. It's the world's largest decentralized innovation fund, has over 600 million ADA participating in the vote, 10,000 members, and has more unique voters than the world's top 100 DAOs combined. So this is Voltaire, and this is also where we come in, being proud recipients of Catalyst Fund 2, thanks to your vote. Now Fund 2 has 250,000 as the overall pot. The pot for Fund 4 is a nifty $1 million. Can you spot the pattern with every subsequent round? Okay, now a side note about voting. So I'm Australian. For 20 years of my life, I found it interesting that people were fined when they failed to vote in our elections. Take that as you will. On the other end of the spectrum, I was born in Burma, a country now known by the name of Myanmar. A country of immense potential, facing extreme poverty and oppression. All traces of democracy were wiped out overnight in a coup d'etat just a few weeks back. Do not take democracy for granted. Answer number 2 for why Cardano. It has the most productive team. Let's start with the visionary founder Charles Hoskinson. Unlike many leaders in the space, he's incredibly eloquent, possesses a Steve Jobs-esque drive for inspiring others, and most importantly, sticking to his principles and ideals. Charles is also the hardest working CEO. There are times when I feel he has 3 clones of himself, one just for AMAs and interviews. He also possesses an amazing network of top-tier professional and state-level connections. I'm sure that would come in handy later. His principles and ideals for Cardano are firmly entrenched in the DNA of this ecosystem. I don't want to sound too preachy, but in this day and age, an inspirational leader with a strong vision goes a long way. Not everyone will agree with everything Charles says, but we all trust him to make Cardano's hugely ambitious vision a reality. Now, the notable team. So IOHK, the entity behind the foundations of Cardano, have expanded to 259 people. Some of the most influential figures in computer science are there. For example, Phil Wadler, the principal designer of the Haskell language, a language trusted for 30 years in industries requiring high assurance. Just the man to help with Plutus, am I right? We can go on for days. Serious team. I've already highlighted the number of papers that their world-class research team have published. Let's not forget about the dev team. So they are consistently the most productive team in all of the blockchain industry. Have a look at these stats on GitHub activity. They've been topping these metrics since 2018. So next up is professionalism, transparency, and focus on the end user. For those closely watching Cardano's development over the past few years, they will be reassured from seeing all 3 of those values in their monthly updates. On the topic of usability, the funny thing about Cardano haters is that most have never used the main applications of the ecosystem. Look at the staking experience on Daedalus and Yoroi. 4 clicks or taps and you're done. Prove us in the staking stats, with Cardano being the most popular proof-of-stake blockchain in the world, also the largest. I have no doubt that DeFi would be much more pleasant with Cardano. A special shout out to Liquid Finance. Check them out. They're fellow Fund 2 recipients. Why Cardano? Point number 3, our community. So by the Galaxy Score community metric on the left, Cardano also has the top score for community across all platforms. Strange metrics aside, just by being on the ground, it's very apparent that we actually do have the most amazing community. Something about the Cardano ecosystem makes it really good at retaining loyalty. You'll also notice that the hive mind is super strong here. Now, for a community centered around blockchain and cryptocurrencies, Cardano's community just feels more normal. Now, this community started with the academia, and many people that are intellectually curious were naturally drawn to it. Over the years, it started to resonate with the optimistic dreamers, those who want to imagine a more open, efficient, and fairer system. I learned about Cardano in late 2017 from a good mate, and after a bit of due diligence, immediately identified with its principles and the systematic approach to changing the world. Now, fast forward to 2019 and 2020. Cardano gained a wonderful community of stake pool operators who help way beyond the protocol-based obligations. There's a strong sense of camaraderie, and we don't hesitate to help each other out, even though we're technically competing against one another. Just look at Lovelace Academy. Now, if you're new to the Cardano community, please check out these links to the right. These will tell you how you can actually get started and contribute. Now, finally, this is where, in our opinion, sets Cardano apart from just about every other platform. It's quite subtle, really. We're talking about Cardano's ultimate goal, the mission, the raison d'etre that unifies and underpins this entire platform, from its founder to its builders and its community, one that is emphasized over and over again.
When you look at the developing world, through no fault of their own, they live in a system where wealth creation is very difficult. And even if you have some, you can't insure it or hedge it, and in the event something happens like a war or a natural disaster, it can cause people to lose everything. But the world is upgrading so that we can have a unified system where all 7 billion people can live under one financial operating system, so that your identity is interoperable and universal. You can get a loan no matter who you are, no matter where you are. You can get insurance, you can do business with anyone in the world in a friction-free way. The point of Cardano is to acknowledge that this must be done with principles. This means pushing power to the edges and putting you in charge of your own money, your identity, and your voice with governance. So that when we get to that universal system, we can get there with an open, decentralized, principled system that can't be co-opted and is highly resilient to people trying to tamper with it. So that the richest people in the world use the same system as the poorest people in the world, and both of those people will have a better system than the one that came before it. That's what Cardano is trying to accomplish.
There you have it, a vision for an open financial and social fabric of the world, giving everyone, especially those at the edges, a voice and equal economic opportunity. Now, onto the Cardano website, you'll see it's basically the same thing. So making the world work better for all. Create possibility for the many as well as the few, and bring about positive global change. Now let's compare it to the other competitors. Obviously you have Bitcoin, the OG in the space, innovative payment network, a new kind of money, very much technology oriented. I mean, I did expect a bit more because it's got such a strong religious maximalist community. Next up's Polkadot, I mean, you have your usual technological underpinnings here. Ethereum, community on technology, etc. And you have, Ethereum on 21 nodes. Again, more or less the same thing here. Very technologically oriented. Now, it's not to say that Cardano is lacking anything techy. If anything, its technological underpinnings are just as strong, if not stronger. But here's food for thought. Do people invest in Tesla because of the technology? Do people buy Apple products because of its specs? I know I bought my first Apple product about 15 years ago because I wanted to think different. When I bought my first ADA in 2017, I always believed in Cardano. As for the rest of 2021, it's nothing but up from here. We have the foundations, the team, the community, and the drive to change the world. Much love to everyone in Cardano for pushing it forward, and even to the haters who want to prove wrong. Stay safe all. Ciao.